Back on the Young Turks. Now joining us, Eleanor Clift from Newsweek. She had an interview with Nancy Pelosi. I want to talk to her about that and, of course, on health care reform as well. Eleanor, welcome back.
Glad to be with you.
Great to have you here. First, I found something interesting in your interview with House Speaker Pelosi. You guys talked about her popularity and the chance of Democrats in 2010 elections, et cetera. What I noticed, though, is that several times she mentioned, no, we'll be fine. We've raised a lot of money. And it seemed to me that she equated the raising a lot of money with, don't worry, we'll win the elections. One, did you get that sense as well? And two, is she right about that?
Well, if you look at most analogies of what people spend and who wins, money is critically important. And I think the Democrats they have a fundraising advantage, but they're running into a pretty strong headwind, at least from the vantage point we have now, looking at 2010. They're going to need every dollar to hold on. And I do think that she sees that as her role as leader, to raise a lot of money and go into these districts. She's not popular, really, outside the Congress. I mean, she would not be a good campaign mate in a lot of the districts, and the Republicans have really set her up as a target. But she's very popular inside the Democratic caucus because she really has rallied votes for just about every Obama initiative, and her pragmatism has really been quite stunning when you consider her background as a kind of a liberal activist before she came into the Congress, and her outspoken opposition to the war and support for reproductive rights, that she has made the political compromises that she feels she has to make in order to advance the agenda.
There's a couple of interesting things out of that. One, how is she supposed to be popular? How's any Democratic leader supposed to be popular? Because as soon as they become leaders, the right wing attack. The Rush Limbaughs every day. Pelosi, Fox News. I don't know anybody who can withstand that kind of scrutiny, especially if they don't have the apparatus to fight back. And the Democrats don't really. And they're only making it worse for themselves by undermining their own apparatus, which I'll get to in a second. But first, do the Democrats recognize that they have this systemic problem that every one of their leaders is going to get ripped down like this?
Oh, I think she, everything she said to me, she does not spend any time worrying about the fact that she's not popular, and she said that she worries about doing her job, and that basically goes with the territory. So I think the Democrats do understand that. Tip O'Neill, a rather legendary House Speaker, the Republicans tried very hard to turn him into a caricature, kind of cigar-chomping, old-style Paul. I don't think it ever caught on, but that was really before cable news. And the cable attacks are just so relentless that, I think they kind of seep into the bloodstream of the country, and that, she's still, I think, not as demonized, certainly, as Hillary Clinton was when she was in the White House. And Hillary Clinton is actually now pretty popular. I don't see the right going after her. They sort of liked her during the primaries, and they kind of like her now. And so they've got to find, I guess, some female on the Democratic side to castigate.
Right. And my concern, one of my concerns, is that Democrats don't understand how much they're undermining themselves when they do have people who could stick up for them and say, hey, wait a minute, now this image of Pelosi is ridiculous, or this image of Harry Reid is ridiculous. But they undermine those people when they don't back them up. Like, it's hard for people like us to have their back when they don't have our back.
Right.
And
well,
again,
I think the problem, or one of the problems they're facing, is structural, and that is after 06 and 08 and the elections, I think there was a sense that liberals or the liberal Democrats were really in control in Washington. But if you look at the Republican caucus and the Democratic caucus, the Republican caucus has gotten far more conservative because they've lost their moderate members, and so they will not cooperate on anything. And the Democratic caucus, well, in order to gain the majority, they followed the Rahm Emanuel strategy, and that was to find candidates that fit the districts. And they elected a lot more moderate/conservative Democrats, which have pulled the Democratic caucus to the right. And so, maybe I'm a creature of the Beltway, but I look at this and I just see what's possible. And I think, you can wish the leaders stood up more and, stamped their feet and held their breath and demanded things. But I'm not so sure that would work. I think they tried to thread the needle here on a lot of issues to try to get what is politically possible.
Yeah, you might not be surprised to find out that I sincerely disagree with that.
No, I'm not surprised,
Right.
and I'm glad you're there because I think we need the pressure on the left, but
right.
I think it only goes so far.
Now, look, I don't want to spend too much time on why I disagree with that. As a quick explanation, I'll say it's not. I don't view it as Reid's fault or Pelosi's fault that much, because I think they did the best they could have given their circumstances. Roughly speaking, it's Obama's fault because he didn't fight for the public option when Dorgan introduced his amendment on drug importation. They came down on him like a ton of bricks. When Lieberman said, "I don't want the public option," they didn't come down on him at all. So it was definitely the White House's decision.
Now, these are political calculations, and on the drug reimportation, which Obama supported as a senator, and then did a turnabout because he'd made a deal with the pharmaceutical industry, and he figured he was better off getting them on board early and giving that up. And I guess I'm in the Senator Ted Kennedy camp that you take what you can get and then you build on it. I'm sure drug reimportation, they'll come back with that as an issue.
But Eleanor, that's the heart of the problem here, and that's I think why a lot of progressives are upset about this. And I want to get to the ramifications of that in a second. Is that Obama didn't run on "I will negotiate with the status quo a little better." Or, when the insurance companies or the drug companies come into the White House, I'll make sure I get a couple of extra billion, in my opinion, I think, out of them. He said, no, I'm going to change the system. I'm going to challenge the status quo.
Changing the system is a lot easier to say than when you get here in Washington and you see how powerful the people are who basically pay for the campaigns of the members of Congress,
well, then let me
whose priority is to get reelected. And I think Obama is, been put in a position that he has to deal with the Congress he has, not the one that he wishes he has, and they are more responsive to the insurance industry and the pharmaceutical industry than they are to the president of their own party.
But he said that he was going to challenge it. So then that goes to the heart of that question.
Well, he challenged it up to a certain point.
No, he didn't. He didn't challenge it at all. He accepted the system as it was and did the best he could, in his estimation, within that system. And
it's a political calculation.
It's a political calculation.
And I can disagree with it.
No, that's a legitimate way to go. But that's not what was promised. So that gets me to the question of, when he was running, did he know he was full of it and that he wasn't going to try any of this stuff and that he was just going to make as the best deals he could? Or once he got in,
I mean, I recall just about every president running as an outsider, and Ronald Reagan was going to drain the swamp and all of that. So, I mean, is there a specific promise that he has broken? That I just
honestly, I think it's countless.
Lobbyists have every right under the Constitution, unfortunately,
but
and
Eleanor,
they are funded, very well here in Washington.
We're talking to Eleanor Clift of Newsweek. I know that, Eleanor, but that's what he promised us, that he would fight the lobbyists. Don't you remember the whole campaign? First of all, the word was change. And second of all, he said, I'm going to get rid of the lobbyists. Not get rid of them entirely, of course, but that he was going to take them on. And instead, what he did was he invited them into the White House and shook hands on it. I mean, Billy Tauzin, the guy that he specifically pointed out in the campaign, said, look, that's what's wrong with America.
It was a political calculation, and he is on the verge of getting health care reform that you may not like, but it is the first time that any majority leader or president has been able to challenge the dominance of the insurance industry.
I don't think so. I think
town.
he added to the dominance of the insurance industry. He just gave them 31 million new customers. That's why their stocks are at 52-week highs. They love this deal. I mean, so it's, if you got reform, yes. The question is it really reform? But let's get to the political calculation. I think they've miscalculated there. Because if you look at polls, Eleanor, they've got one poll saying 40% of Democrats are not going to show up. The ones that voted in 2008 are not going to show up in 2010. You got another poll that says on the public option alone, 30% of Democrats are going to stay home. The fact that it's not in the bill. They have
my mother would call that cutting your nose off to spite your face, first of all. And second of all, most of the people, or not most, but a large percentage of the people who vote in the presidential election don't show up in the off-year election anyway. So that's not news. And it's a lot harder to, muster enthusiasm for an administration mired down in a lot of problems than it was for an exciting breakthrough candidate.
I think what they don't understand is they let the air out of the balloon. People were excited. Again, I saw a different poll on how young people are not going to show up in 2010. He's lost 30 points among Hispanic voters. Okay, the Democrats have in general, and so has Obama. And the reason is because they really believed the hype. They really thought he was going to challenge the system. And then when he doesn't, they go, oh, it turns out he's another politician. All right, I'm done with it. And that's going to hurt the Democrats tremendously. Isn't that obvious?
Yeah, it's obvious, but there's also a reality here in Washington that you can only challenge so much. I'm sorry, I've heard a lot of political rhetoric, and I think Obama has challenged the system to the extent that he is able, and if he had challenged it to the extent that you're talking about, I don't think he would have gotten anything.
Yeah, well, that we'll never know, because not only did he not do it, but he doesn't promise to do it going into the future either. So, but now at least we know what we're getting. So then the voters will decide in 2010 and 2012 based on the reality and not the hype. So there's an upside, I suppose. But
right, and the more you talk about how bad it is, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And trust me, the other guys are going to be a lot worse.
I'm perfectly aware of that.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly aware of that, and we talk about that all the time too. But we have to be honest with our audience, and this is not, as Tavis Smiley said the other day on Meet the Press, this isn't change. This is small change, and it's not challenging the system.
I think it's enormous change because it moves the government towards a position of accepting health care coverage as a right and not a privilege, which is why the Republicans hate it so much. And it also changes the way you relate to your insurance companies, because insurance companies can't discriminate against you if you're sick. Now, they may be able to charge you too much, but, that may be something they can come back and fix. But I think those are two fundamental changes.
All right, there's too much to respond to there, so I'm going to give you the last word on that. And
all right.
As always, I really appreciate the conversation.
Absolutely.
Eleanor Clift from Newsweek.
Keep on fighting.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. We'll be right back. Young Turks.